Hey everybody. So today what I want to talk about is grind adjustment. And so basically I have the Easy Presso JX Pro and the ZP6. They're disassembled right now because I went ahead and cleaned them. But then I also wanted to kind of discuss something about what I've been kind of I guess something that I really didn't think about, but I just kind of, recently became aware, and it makes a lot of sense. But and I'm puzzled why I didn't really realize this in the beginning. But basically, what I'm talking about is, when it comes to grind adjustments, especially for like these hand grinders, each click corresponds to a number of microns of adjustment. And so, but in reality, those micron adjustments are, I wouldn't say that they're not important, but they're not as helpful as you may think, at least for me. I'm realizing it's not really that helpful. Obviously, you want a finer adjustment. Like a smaller micron adjustment per click is preferable to a larger, and that does kind of give you a sense of whether or not you can use your grinder for methods like grinding for espresso. So of course that's valuable to know, but it's very hard to compare two different grinders. So if you try to, like, let's say, and this is where it kind of happened for me, I wanted to compare these two grinders using the same grind size. And so there's no real way to kind of do that. You can't really, obviously, I mean, most of you probably realize this, but you can't just try to calculate out how many micron adjustments you're making in order to get an idea of an equivalent grind size, because the geometry of the burrs really makes a difference here. And so what I can do, let me just show you these two, and I'll just put them like this. Hopefully, let's see, maybe something like that. Hopefully you can see these two. I don't know if that's helpful. Let's just do it like this. I'm gonna hold them upside down. All right, so this one is the ZP6. Not sure if it's focusing. Hopefully it focused at least a little bit. This one here is the JX Pro. And you know what, maybe let me do this over here. Grab one of these. Set these. Maybe, this might do it. Okay, put them side by side. All right, we'll grab you guys over here. So, okay, maybe this will work. Okay. So this one here is the ZP6, and this one here is JX Pro. And not sure if you can really see, but if you look really closely at the shape of the ZP6, the burr is almost kind of bell-shaped at the bottom. It kind of flares out a little bit. But ultimately, I think what I'm trying to get at is it's a little more flat than the JX Pro, which is a little bit more, kind of vertical. If you can kind of see that, might be a little bit hard to see. But what that kind of means is that you know, that the grind adjustments for the ZP6, each movement vertically up and down has a much bigger effect on the overall grind size than the JX Pro. And so I can kind of show you guys that in a little bit more detail. I kind of got this because I contacted Easy Press on this because I was so confused. Not sure why, but I was. But and then they kind of explained it to me, and they actually directed me to a video. Believe it or not, it was from Gold Story. They were answering questions about their Arco grinder, and they just happened to be answering that question that I was asking. And they gave it was a pretty interesting kind of video on how the burr geometry makes a difference. So I kind of maybe try to duplicate that a little bit. I will try to show you guys. Set this up again. Okay. All right. So if we have, let's just say that the burr on the left is the ZP6, and the one on the right is the JX Pro. And so this is what I mean by a conical burr that's a little bit more flatter than a conical burr that's more vertical. So less of an angle. So you could see. So what I did here, I just I cut these pieces out. This is similar to what they did in their video, and these little what you call it, boxes that I drew. They represent the bottom burr, right? So that would be oh, I can't show you the bottom burrs, but that's the bottom burr. And so basically, when you make a grind adjustment, this goes. So if you make it coarser, it just kind of goes like that, right? And so it makes that space. And so you see here at this level, which I would say is, maybe it's like you're grinding for espresso or something, or mocha pot, right? And so if I do that for here, for the JX Pro, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of difference in the space between the burrs. And so, but if you go down to, let's just say that this is a pour over level grind. If you see that here, you could see how big of a difference it is, with this burr versus this burr because of the geometry. So the JX Pro is, it has a very fine kind of adjustment. It's 12.5 microns per click, and then the ZP6 is I think 22 microns per click. So it has that going for it. Plus the burr geometry is a little bit more kind of vertical, and so even with this adjustment all the way to here, simulating a pour over, you could see how little that kind of space becomes. It's much more of a gradual kind of opening of the burrs versus something like this, which is pretty drastic between here and here, right? And so and that kind of makes sense, right? And so like if you took this burr and you made it even more like more flat, and it actually became like a flat burr grinder, and then you kind of see that a flat burr has a drastic a huge effect of every little grind adjustment. It has a huge effect on the grind size, because it's almost like a 1-for-1. If you move 5 microns, there's definitely a just a 5 micron opening. It's not sure what I'm trying to say there. Anyways, but let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Give me a sec here. And then, okay, so, what that, I guess what I wanted to kind of get at with that is that, I think for a conical burr, it just made me think that if I'm using a conical burr for pour over, I probably don't need to be so concerned about the grind adjustment being, super fine, right? Like you don't technically need a JX Pro with a 12.5 micron adjustment, especially with its burr geometry. And so I think that's why the ZP6 works really well with pour over, and they only recommend it for pour over and siphon. They don't even show anything on their chart for somebody trying to grind outside of those two methods. And then for like a flat burr, maybe it makes sense why most flat burr grinders are stepless, because you really do need that level of adjustment, to really kind of get to the size that you need. It's just, because it makes such a big difference every little turn. I think there are some obviously grinders where they're stepped and flat burr. So like the Weber Workshops EG1, I think it's like a 5 micron adjustment, right? So per adjustment is 5 microns. Which is pretty fine. But let's see, what else did I want to talk about here? Okay. So ultimately, like, I guess what it all came down to is, so when I look at the chart for Easy Presso for the ZP6, they started at the number 4, which is 40 clicks. And so 40 clicks times, 22 microns per click is 880 microns. So for pour over, you're starting with the burrs open 880 microns. And that's like, what is that, 0.88 millimeters, I guess, right? 0.88 millimeters. And then for the JX Pro, they start at 3.2 rotations, which comes out to, I already did the math on this, it comes out to 128 clicks times 4 clicks per micron. It was something like 1600, I think. Let's see. Yeah, 1600 microns. So 1.6 millimeter burr distance move down. So it's, almost twice as much. You're moving the burr almost twice as much, open as the ZP6, but getting the same, pour over, at least, the starting range for pour over grind size. And so that's what I meant by, it's not, that adjustment is not helpful if you're trying to compare different grinders. So anyway, hopefully something in this was interesting to you all. If you have any thoughts or additional follow-up or some questions or whatever, feel free to put something down on the comments. And then I guess that's it for this one. And thanks for watching. I will check you out on the next one.